Today's presentation is going to be on web forms inside Zoho CRM. That's going to take us into our agenda for today. So first, I'm going to go over a little bit of an overview of exactly how web forms work and the different types of web forms that we have available for you to create through Zoho CRM. Then I'm going to go into a demo where we actually create a web form. So we'll go through all of the steps of customizing, adding in the fields, exactly how you need to put it together. And then I've set up a test site through Zoho Sites where we're going to publish the code, and then we'll look at the web form, we'll enter a test data, and then we'll pop back into CRM and see how it came in. So we can kind of go through the entire flow just so you can get an idea of how it all works. And then finally, we'll just touch on some best practices. So some things to keep in mind when you're creating your web forms, some good ideas to help optimize them for the best you can. All right, so just a little bit of an overview. I know for some people, the idea of creating a web form or doing anything that you have to involve your website is a little bit scary. When I talk to customers and they say, I want to be able to generate leads, how can I best do that? The first thing I ask is, do you guys have a web form set up? And if they say, no, what's that? And I start to explain it, as soon as I say anything about generating a code or embedding something on their site, I can just tell the fear in their voice. They're like, that sounds way too complicated. I just don't know if I can do it. It's definitely a lot simpler than it sounds. And so just to give you an idea of basically how the web forms work, you create a form, it goes up on your site. You choose the fields that you want to capture. So a customer comes in, they enter the information, and then as soon as they hit sign up, it automatically comes into your CRM account. How you handle them from there is completely up to you. It can be as simple or as complex of a workflow as you like. Some people just have it come in, it sits in a little group for a long time before they finally send out an email campaign at some point. Others have a really complex workflow where they immediately get an email. 2 days later, there's a task for somebody to call them. 3 days later, another email goes out. And you can set that all up inside the CRM. So it can really be as involved as you need it to. All right, so we have a few different types of forms that you can create inside our CRM. The most popular is going to be web-to-lead forms. And so these are going to be the tools that really drive your inbound marketing. This is what we were talking about earlier with Zoho. All of the different products inside Zoho have web forms on them. So you sign up, the information comes in, and then you can follow up with them from there. Web-to-contact forms work very similar to web-to-lead forms. The main use of it is a lot of people don't use the leads module inside CRM. So you can set up a web-to-contact form, and it'll work the same way. But it can also work for a few other things. If you're not necessarily looking to engage them in the sales process right away, but you want to capture their information, so say you just want to do like a mailing list, just have them sign up to receive your newsletter, or have them sign up for an exclusive event that you're doing, something like that. This is great for that. Web-to-contact forms, they'll just come directly into the contact side, and they're not actually directly in your sales process yet. And then finally, web-to-case forms. Web-to-case forms do not get a lot of love inside our CRM. And that's probably because the cases module doesn't get a whole lot of love inside our CRM. And I think that that's a mistake just because not everybody needs a really complex support solution like Zoho Support. But everybody does need a way to offer support to their customers, or to at least give customers a way to say, hey, something's wrong, or I had this really bad experience. So web-to-case forms are great for that. They come into this part of your website, they enter the issue that happened, and it automatically creates a record inside the CRM, which you can then follow up on and then mark it as complete once it's all been resolved. All right, so how to set up a web form inside Zoho CRM. This is where we're going to kind of get into a demo, and I'm going to show you guys all of the steps. So here's my test account. And to get to your web form area, you're going to go to Setup, and then under Website Integration, you just want to click on Web Forms. All right, so you can see I've already got a few set up here. I'm going to create a brand new one. The modules here lets you determine which form you're creating. So you can do web-to-lead, web-to-contact, web-to-case, or a web-to-any custom module you have set up. So we'll create a web form. And you can see it's a really simple drag and drop interface. You're able to pick the fields you want and then just pull them over into the form. So we'll just capture kind of the basic information, first name, last name, email, maybe industry. All right. Now, something else we probably want to know is where this lead came from. If it comes into the CRM, we want to know that it came from a web form. The easiest way to do that is to drag over a lead source field. Now, immediately, it's going to say, do you want this field to be visible to everyone? So you can choose if you want this to be a hidden field. And then the default value be web form. What this will do is it's going to put this on the web form, but your customers won't see it. So they go in there, they fill out the information, it automatically comes into the CRM with all the data they've added, but there's also the lead source values filled out with web form, and that's not something they ever needed to worry with. And we'll just say we want to know where they're located, because that's always good. So you can also play with how this form looks. These are the fields that you want to capture, but you can also adjust your font, so you can make it look how you like. You can make it bigger. You can change the color of the font on the site. So we want it blue. You can change the background. So we'll make it pink. All right. You can choose how it needs to align. And then you can choose how big it needs to be size-wise, width. All right, so this little option right here lets you preview as you're going along to see, does this look like something my customers might actually fill out? Under your advanced tools over here, you can add in a couple of other options. So if you want to do a file upload, you want them to send you something, some sort of information, you can drag that in here. And if you want to add in CAPTCHA so that you can hopefully reduce the amount of junk leads that come in from web forms, then they'll fill this in. Luckily, it's not exactly hard to read CAPTCHA. Some CAPTCHAs can kind of tear people away from ever even submitting your form. But luckily, you can see this looks pretty clear. All right, so this is what the web form would look like. You just kind of drag and drop as you need to, and then you hit next step. So this is where the goodies are. This is like where determines how the information actually comes into your CRM and what happens with it from there. So you can just give this a simple name, and this is what the name that would show up at the top of your form is. So just make this contact us. All right, now this is where people tend to get a little bit tripped up, is what does all this mean? Landing page URL, form location URL. Landing page URL refers to where the customer needs to be directed to after they hit submit. So if they hit submit, you can send them back to your home page if you like, but usually it's a good idea to have some sort of page already set up that says, success, thanks for contacting us, we'll be in touch with you shortly, something like that. The form location URL is where the form is sitting at inside your website. So exactly what URL they would go to reach this. Usually it's your contact us page, or if you've got several forms, it'll be specific to the product. So like I said, I have a Zoho site set up here. You guys can use any website or web builder that you have. I just went through our Zoho site. And I just created a very super basic, there's nothing on it website right now. Carrie Bradshaw's getting started. She hasn't really done everything she needs to yet. And when I come in here, it shows me my home page, any other pages that I've built on here. And if I click on Manage Pages, then it'll just give me all of the pages that I've got, and I can actually pull my URL right here. So if you've got your own website set up and you know this is going to live on bradshawinc.com/contact us, then you don't need to even visit your website. You can just pull that information. So I just copy that. I know this is where I want the form to sit at, so I'm just going to go in and paste it. And then, like I said, I set up a success page, so I can come in here and I can grab that too. You can send them anywhere you like, but it's usually a good idea to create some sort of success page just so they can confirm that you received it. Okay? So then I'll just come in here and I'll paste that. All right. So then you get to choose how you want the lead to be handled once it comes into your CRM. You can have this form set up to automatically assign anybody that comes in to the same person, or you can actually set up an assignment rule. Assignment rules are really great if you have a larger team and you need to kind of set up territories. If they're located in Texas, it needs to go to this guy. If their industry is oil and gas, it needs to go to this guy. For this purpose, we'll just kind of say this needs to automatically go to Carrie Bradshaw. Under the notification area, you have a couple of options of what you want to do as far as what goes out to either your customers or your sales team. So you can notify lead owner. This would say, as soon as a lead comes into the CRM from this web form, it's going to assign to Carrie Bradshaw, and then it's going to send her an email. Hey, you got a new lead from your web form. And then you can choose a specific template if you like. I don't have a template set up in here for that. But you can actually pull all the information. And so that's a common thing I hear with a lot of people is they say, the web forms that I have now will send an email to me with all of the details from what the customer submitted. You can do the same thing here. You can create a template that's going to say, show me, first name, last name, phone number, email address, all of the information the same way. It's just also going into the CRM at the same time. If you do acknowledge visitor, this will send an email to your customer. Thanks for sending in this information. We'll be in touch with you shortly. Hey, why don't you check out our Twitter page? Whatever you want to kind of keep them engaged further. You can use an auto response rule that you already have set up, or you can just choose a default response for all your visitors. So you just create a basic template. Visitor tracking is if you have Zoho Sales IQ installed in your website and then you're using that with the CRM as well. Gives you an option to integrate that into your web forms too. And then requests for approval. This is really important. A lot of times junk can come into your web forms. Even if you have CAPTCHA, somehow they find a way in. Requests for approval really kind of helps eliminate that problem. You select this option. The lead doesn't automatically come into your database. It comes into a holding spot, and you can approve it first before it gets mixed in with everything else. All right, so once you've filled in these details, you hit save, and it takes you to probably one of the most terrifying pages inside our CRM. Customers hate this page because they're like, I don't understand what this means. This is just giving you the code options to embed this on your website. So you can choose any of the ones you want. And if you've used Zoho sites or WordPress, it also gives you one that would be formatted best for that page. And all you have to do is just copy it, and then you can take it to your website. So if you guys are in the fortunate situation that you don't even have to deal with this, this is the part where you send it to your developer and you never have to worry about it again. They'll take care of it for you. If you do and you're really nervous about it, then all you've got to do is just copy it, and then you'll just go into your website and embed it. And so here I have my sample Carrie Bradshaw website. I created this contact page. There's nothing on it yet. Okay, good deal. All right, so all I got to do inside Zoho Sites, it's really easy. I'll just click on embed and drag that down in here, and then I can paste that form that I had created before. So it shows you this message right now. Content will be rendered once it's published. So I can go ahead and I can hit publish right away. The next option I was going to cover was just tips to optimize your web forms. So while you're building the web forms, some things to keep in mind that can kind of help make them better used, more successful for you. So for your customers, just make sure you provide links and hints to fields that you think may be a problem area. If it's in any way something that they're going to have to think about, like what are they looking for here? You can provide a hint for that. If it's something like their email address, some people are really reluctant to give that up. So you can always just have in there a link to your security or your privacy policy, just so kind of helps them feel a little bit more secure. Keep the form short as possible. You don't want a whole lot of fields in there, especially mandatory fields, because then they're just not going to submit it. They're going to kind of get glazed over and then just immediately move on to the next page. Set up a page that directs this exclamation. So just like we were talking about, if you have a page set up that's like a success page that they can see, oh, it did go through, that's great, especially if you have more content on there that can further engage them so that they can do something else instead of just going back to your home page and then leaving from there. And reply back with personalized emails. So I talked about you can set up a generic kind of just basic response that goes out, but you can also make really detailed information, like giving them more that they might want to know, more information that can help them to help kind of better further move the sales process along. All right, so for your database, make sure you connect the form to Zoho CRM. So like we talked about, you can have other forms out there where it comes to your email, but it's great to connect it to Zoho CRM because then you can do everything. It comes into your database. You can get the email information that you're wanting to. You'll be able to further follow up with them from there. Assign records automatically to sales reps. So you can do this based on whatever y'all's kind of system works with right now. If it's based on location, the industry, different levels of products, you can have that automatically assigned to the sales rep. Take the manual work out for you guys. And then pass information via hidden fields. So like we talked about, that lead source field. You don't want your customers to see that and be able to select that they came from a trade show or anything like that, but you want to know where they came from. So just pass that information through a hidden field. That way they don't see it, and it automatically assigns the right lead source. And then just some security tips. Approve those leads before adding them into the CRM. That way you don't have a bunch of junk and things like that floating around. Use HTTPS instead of HTTP, just so it kind of makes it easier. No one can go to your form and go in and kind of pull out the code and have it come into their database. And then use CAPTCHA. So like we talked about, that option where they have to enter a code before they hit submit. That way they know that it's a little bit more secure. All right.